YouTube, what up, though? We back in the whip, man. Today, the whip is the truck. We in that semi. Talk a little trucking with y'all real quick, man. So today I want to talk about the different divisions in truck driving. The different divisions that you can get into in truck driving. There are many different divisions, but really I'm gonna just talk about the main three. You know, that main three you see people get into. Well, it's like, you know, really it's about a main four, but like a main three you see everybody get into. Excuse me. Or like those entry level truck driving positions. You know, these are the positions that they go on. These are the positions that they're gonna push you into when it comes to being a rookie truck driver. You know, the divisions, I mean. So you got your dry van division, which is what I'm doing now. Dry van division. Reefer division, which reefer is short for refrigerator. Then you got your flatbed division, which, you know, that's self-explanatory. It's a flatbed trailer. And then you also got your tanker division, right? So those are the four. And people usually really go for those first three. A lot of people don't really go for tanker a lot. You know what I mean? But tanker is pretty cool, though. I actually got my tanker endorsement. And I actually do want to give tanker a shot. You know what I mean? Get some tanker experience. But, yeah, you know, once you get your CDL, man, and, you know, you got your license in your hand, and you go for that first job, you know, at an OTR company, because that's really what they're going to be pushing. You go get that first job, you're going to get your choice of divisions. If the company you go to has those divisions. You know, the company you go to, they got all four of those divisions. They'll let you pick. So, you know, let's say you go with dry van, which most people go with. That's probably the biggest division. Most people go with dry van. So dry van, that's your, you know, basic dry freight. That could be anything from, that could be car parts, clothes, furniture, dry food, you know, just anything that go inside the truck, man. Air conditioners, tires, you know, anything, man. Anything that go on the truck, man. Loads of cases of water, anything, man. So, you know, that's your dry freight. You got your refrigerated freight, which is same type of trailer, 53-foot trailer, like a 48-foot trailer, has a refrigerator on it. Refrigerator is for temperature control, to keep the items in the trailer at the right temperature. That could be anything from your ice cream to your meat, you know what I mean, your chicken, your beef, your pork, you know, your turkey, anything that has to keep a temperature. I done seen candles. You know what I mean? You know, candles that got to stay at a certain temperature, or else the candles will melt. You know, anything that has to stay cold, man. Fruit, vegetables, those things like that. Got your flatbed. It's pretty much your basic building material. Bricks, shingles, roofing material, construction, logs, woods, your metals, your steel, your coils, you know, you see them with big tractors on them, you know, like farming equipment, you know, big tractors chained down, tied down on them, all the way to your oversized loads. You know, you see them hauling big houses and bulldozers, you know, all type of stuff, man. Metal pipes, all type of stuff, man. That's a whole different, you know, beast right there, man. That flatbed of beast. Then you got your tanker division. You can have food grade tanker, which is, you know, obviously food. It could be water, it could be corn syrup, it could be food coloring, it can be grain, rice, it could be sand. I done seen them tankers haul all type of stuff, man. Eggs, food byproduct, all type of, you know, anything can go in those things. Milk, juice, anything, right? Then you also got your flammable tankers. That's your oils, your gases, your diesel fuel, your unleaded gasoline, alcohol, you know, anything flammable, right? So got that. So those are like your main four, right? There are others. Y'all give me a second. This phone just alerted me it's about to die on me. Charge it up. Put my charger on there. Alright, there we go. So yeah, you got those 4 divisions, man. So, you know, you go to your job, you know, get hired on, time to pick a division. Let's say you pick dry van, right? Dry van is going to pay the least. Dry van pays the least. Let's say you go to a company, they got a pay scale from, let's say they start at 50 cents all the way up to, let's say, 80 cents, right? They go from 50 cents to 80 cents. Based off experience. You might get a little more, might get a little less. Let's say you 50 cents a mile, dry van. That's what they're going to start you out as. You get a lot of miles. A lot of miles with dry van. The schedule with dry van is pretty cool. You get a pretty cool schedule. You know, you run your 10-hour clock. Shippers and receivers for most dry van places. Pretty cool. You know, you're gonna get your hit and misses. You know what I mean? Dry van is pretty cool. It's not really rocket science. It's nothing to it. You ain't gotta, unless you at a company where you gotta load and unload the trailer. Other than that, you ain't gotta do too much to a dry van trailer. That's it. It's your basic entry level trucking. Nothing really special. So it really ain't too much for me to tell y'all about it. But reefer is the next one. Let's say you want to start at reefer. That might pay you 55 cents. 60 cents. They might pay you a little more for reefer, right? You got a little more responsibility with the reefer trailer, though. It's your responsibility to make sure that trailer is running right. It also has to have fuel in it. You gotta have I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never driven a reefer trailer, don't want to, but so I don't know. I believe it's diesel fuel that they're putting in it as well. I believe you got to put diesel fuel in your trailer as well as your truck. Well, obviously your truck, but I believe, yeah, you got to have fuel in your trailer as well. And that trailer got to stay at the right temperature, man. You pull up to where you got to be. And I done heard cats tell me, like, yeah, man, I pulled up to this place, man, with this load of apples, or I had this load of food, or this load of whatever, and they came out with a thermometer and stuck a thermometer inside of a couple of the apples and seen that the apples wasn't at the temperature, and woo. Yeah, man, that's your responsibility. Let's say you out, on a load. You pull over for your 10-hour break, middle of you sleep, something happened to your reefer. Something happened to your refrigerator on your trailer. That thing go out, or you ain't put enough fuel in it, or whatever. Now that's your fault that that product is gonna be bad when it get to where it got to go. Now, if you a company driver, this is something that could get you fired. Accidents happen. So if it's an accident, all right. But if you just careless and they see that you keep doing something like that, or you keep messing up that reefer trailer, yeah, you out of here. Or let's say if you the owner, you the owner operator, lease operator, or whatever, that's getting ready to come out of your pocket, bro. You done sat there and wasted a whole load of watermelons, a whole load of whatever, or this ice cream melted, or these candles done melted. Yeah, you paying for that, bro. That's a lot of responsibility. And from my understanding is that when it comes to reefer, their appointment times are all over the place, man. In meat packing places, and you know, them places where you got that refrigerated freight, their appointment times is all over the place, man. You be dead tired. Got to get right up, get to that, get into that appointment. You know, that those are just the things that I know and what I've heard about reefer. On to the next one. Next one is flatbed. Now this is one that I know a little bit about because that's where I started. I did flatbed. Wasn't in it long, but got my hands dirty with some flatbed, man. So flatbed is your building materials. Building materials, basic building materials, all the way up to your oversized freight, right? You know, you see them all over the road, flatbeds, low boys, step decks, how you pronounce it is the Conestoga. The Conestogas, those are the flatbed trailers that got the covers already over them. So, you know, you ain't even got to tarp them bad boys, man. They just got covers over them. You know, you go ahead and put your load on there, strap it down, secure it down, boom. You know, put your cover over it, lock it on there, and you good to go. So, you going with flatbed, right? This is another sense of responsibility. And when it comes to the pay grade, flatbed gonna pay you more than what you make at dry van or reefer. So let's say dry van paying you 50 cent to 55 cent a mile. You know, you might get some companies that'll pay you, 60 cent a mile for some dry van. You know, I've seen companies pay good for dry van. So let's say you 50 to 60 cent on the dry van side, 60 to 65, 70 cent on the reefer side. You're gonna be 65 to 70 something cent flatbed, right? Flatbed gonna pay you a little more. You got a lot more responsibility. It's more demanding. It's physical. It's your responsibility to load. Not loaded, because they're gonna be loaded by forklifts or cranes or whatever them people use to put the stuff on your bed. But once it's on your bed, bro, that's your responsibility to secure that load and make sure that load don't fall off that truck. You know, that's where your skills gonna come in at, your load securement skills. You know, that's when you gotta pay attention. You know, cause man, listen, you drop something off that truck, not only are you fired, you hit somebody with that stuff. That stuff hit somebody's car, hurt a person. Man, listen, bro, you're going to jail. Okay. Now, something come off your truck and damage somebody's property. Alright, cool. Some property is one thing. Man, you got some stuff on them trailers, man, that if it fall off that trailer, bro, you're gonna take somebody's life. Okay? That's the one scary thing that I don't like about flatbed. But that right there is what would make me a good flatbedder. Is me just being cautious. Me being cautious, me not wanting to mess up, me not wanting to hurt nobody. I'm gonna take my time, make sure I'm doing things right, pay attention. Real demanding. It's a real demanding job. It don't matter the weather, rain, sleet, snow, don't matter what the weather looking like. You gonna have your ass out there on that flatbed getting to it. Straps, chains, tarps, winches, binders, snap binders, winch, all that, bro. You getting ready to get into all that, dog. It's dirty. You ain't getting ready to be clean, cute, none of that. You know what I'm saying? Man, this motherfucking hard hat, steel toe boot type of shit right here. This is some real work. As you get into it and you get your skills together and you get some experience, just like with anything, flatbed gonna be a little easier. Some real good paying flatbed companies out there, man. Flatbed is one of them divisions that when everything slow down, freight slow down, that flatbed gonna keep running. That flatbed gonna keep coming. You gonna get your money up out of that flatbed. That's the one thing about that division. That's the most reliable division. You can rely on that division to keep you busy more than any other division. To me, that's probably the best division. Once you learn how to do it, flatbed's probably the best division for a truck driver. You know, it's good pay. You learn the skill. Yeah, good pay. You learn the skill. Keeps you physically active, fit. You know what I mean? You're not sitting in that driver's seat all day. You know, get you out of that truck. You know, like I said, it got its, you know, it has its minuses as well. You know, temperature. You know, don't matter what the temperature is, you get ready to be out there in it. So, you know, hey, you know, take that, you know, that little information and do what you want with that. I'm not telling nobody what division to go to. I'm just telling y'all what the divisions are and what's the differences between the two, and just giving you my little, you know, my opinion on it. You know, I can go on for days though about flatbed because I actually like flatbed. But next one I'm gonna go on to is tanker division, the tanker division. I have my tanker endorsement. Never got my hands on a tanker yet. I want to though. But yeah, you know, your tanker division, man. Like I said, your food grade tankers, which is to me that's the safest. You know, I ain't gotta worry about nothing blowing up. Yeah, man, you gonna get probably around the same amount of money when it comes to food grade. You'll probably make the same amount of money as like a reefer driver. But let's say you want to go with the flammable side, the hazardous side of tanker. That's where you're gonna get the money at. Shit, they make more money than the flatbed driver. You know, only thing messing with tanker, with flammable tanker would probably be like oversized flatbed. That right there pays the most all in trucking. Oversized flatbed, you're gonna make the most money oversized flatbed. So back to what I was saying about tanker. You know, you get with a tanker company. You go food grade. You gonna get your training. You know what I mean? From what I understand, some of the places you actually load yourself. Other places they'll load you up for, you know, they'll load your truck for you. But it's all about the hoses. You know, you connecting your hoses, getting loaded, using your hoses to get unloaded. You know what I mean? And those things get heavy, man. Those things get heavy. That liquid in there get the moving around. That surge can get the slushing around that truck, man. You going to coming up to a stop, and you got all that weight from that liquid pushing your truck forward. Shit, you got to make sure you stop in a good 100 feet. You know, you got to start making sure you stop 100 feet before it's time to actually stop. You know? But like I said, there ain't nothing really, you know, rocket science about tanker. You know, you driving the tank, you gonna pull up somewhere, get loaded with your hose, go to your receiver, your shipper, whatever, you know, wherever you going, get loaded with your hose, go somewhere else, get unloaded with the hose. After that, depending on what you getting ready to pick up next, you're gonna have to go get a tank wash. Same with reefer as well. You got to get your reefer trailer washed out, depending on what you getting ready to go grab. You know, you can't take a trailer that you just hauled some steaks in, you know what I mean, some beef steaks, and you know, got a little blood on the bottom of the trailer. You can't take that trailer, man, and go load up some ice cream with it. You know what I'm saying? Nah, hell nah. But you probably can't take that trailer if you had some ice cream with it and you didn't spill none, or some regular some fruit that got to be cold and, you know, none of it spilled. You can take that and go load some meat into it. You know, you probably ain't got to clean it. But yeah, you know, you load some meat, some chicken, some something in that trailer, man. Nah, you gonna have to go. You know, you got to get the trailer washed out. So, same with tanker. You know, got to deal with them truck washes. But But yeah, man, that was just my quick little video, man, about the 4 divisions, man. If y'all have any more questions, you know, this video is for rookie drivers. If y'all have any more questions about these divisions, or if y'all want me to do a separate video and go more in depth about the other divisions, because these aren't the only 4. There's more divisions in trucking. We can talk about it. You know what I mean? Shit, school bus, dump truck, motherfucking box trucking, sprinter van, and whatever. You know, we can talk about many ways, many other divisions out here to get, you know, that you can use your CDL with. So yeah, man, just like the video so we can get it out there to people, get it in the algorithm. Like, comment on it, man. Holler at me. Subscribe to my channel so y'all can get more videos. I'm gonna keep dropping. But yeah, man, sitting here waiting to get unloaded, man. Look at this view, man. It's nice, man. It's nice out here, man. Out here in the country, man. Out here in that country, man. You hear me? Yeah. Out here in the boonies, man. But all right, y'all. Get with y'all.